guy's getting comfortable now. He's like,
You know, even my hands are now chilled like this. You remember the beginning, I was sitting like a student in class, like, hey, the teacher's gonna call me out. Now I'm like, hey, relax, bro, relax.
yo,
Yeah,
yo,
man,
yo,
yeah, man.
yo, yo. Okay,
Okay,
let's
so,
get in.
so,
Let's get in there.
oh yes, yeah, the usual.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
What's
I always wait for you to introduce, and then I'm like, I'll jump in with my usual, bro.
what's happening, people? It's your boy Jerome Arab, and
Mr. Chiwaz, how's everybody doing?
yeah, and we basically we're trying to figure out what we're going to talk about today, and then it's just like just press record, just press record. Let's go, let's
Press,
go.
press, boss, press.
So I was feeling like talking a little bit about planning. It's
Hmm.
like about being smart
Hmm.
and not working hard, but actually working smart. That's what I wanted to talk about today.
Hmm.
Um, because we just started to talk about my Patreon
Yeah,
account, which I just started
which
yesterday.
is part of the smart bit. I mean, it's still work. People
Yeah,
shouldn't get that twisted. That working, that work smarter, not harder. It
yeah.
actually doesn't mean there's no graft.
No, it means that you have to work towards where there's results. That's what you're
Hmm.
looking at. So
Hmm.
everything is geared to a results based
Hmm.
formula,
That's right.
basically.
That's right.
So yeah, so it's like when we spoke about music, it was like I was giving you like the breakdown of
Hmm.
what I would do. But
Yeah.
if it ain't results based, so it's almost like if you're just doing things, but you're not actually monitoring what it's bringing in or where you're moving, then you're wasting your time. You know what I mean? It's like you're
Hmm.
wasting your time. You need to actually kind of set goals, set targets, and then make sure you're hitting those marks. And that's what is working smarter. I think people think there's like shortcuts to
Hmm.
business and to success.
Yeah. Or someone is just gonna spoon feed you. Like.
Yeah. And I think you hear people say it so much. Like you hear a lot of, especially these, I think there's a lot of fake like gurus online. So you have to be very careful who you're listening to.
Bro, a lot, a lot.
It's even like you hear a pastor will, like some pastors will say, "Ah, man, it's because you're not praying hard enough." Bro, if you're just praying and you're doing nothing else, yeah, that's not smart. Like you have to back it, you know? You have to be like, okay, God, I want to
Prayer
do,
without action is dead, my guy.
so
It's
everything I feel like you have to set targets.
mm,
Um, so let me first start off with yourself. Like
mm,
what are your goals, like your life goals? Let's not even look at recent. We've talked about your dreams, but what are your
yes.
goals? Like they could be one and the same, close enough, but there's like certain things like I want to have done this and this and this. Like I think like some of the goals I can point out to help is like I wanted a family, I wanted my
Mm,
own house.
mm,
um like these are kind of like the smaller things. I wanted
right.
my own house, like it's like a 5 bedroom house that I want to build on a farm for myself
Mm,
and my
mm,
family. Those are some of my goals. Even like I want to have a few companies under my belt that
mm,
have been very successful,
right.
and I want to have worked as a creative on some really big projects
Yes, sir.
that the world recognizes. Like those are some of the goals
Mm,
that I kind of see. The bank account and stuff. I'm not going to talk about that stuff because I've got a lot of those as well
yes,
listed.
sir.
But I'm just saying maybe you can give us some of yours.
Um, well, first and foremost, it's to live a happy life.
Mm,
So, a happy life for me is not, look, yeah, I'll say it as it is, as I'm seeing it. A happy life for me is not having to wake up and figure out your next plan. There's already a plan in set, a plan in mode, a plan in action, right? So basically, like right now, what I'm doing is all these little small businesses that I've got my hands in. It's things that I know I'm good at,
yeah.
but I know it's things that are going to take some of my time my own time, my social time or whatever for this moment in my
Yeah.
life. So I want to make sure that those are going, because I know for a fact that these hands here that I have, these are this is gold to me, and this is gold. You know what I'm saying? So I want to use that to grow my businesses. One of my main core ideas in business is I want to be able to build an empire that is an umbrella business that can start injecting into um uh it's almost like your upcoming artist, right?
Yeah.
So I want a business that is then able to inject into other small businesses or people with business ideas and injecting that, um just to help people as well. That's, to me, that's helping people. So I want to be successful in my business game, so that I'm able um, to pass it down.
Mm.
You know, yeah. So that's business. I would love to own, definitely, to own a bigger house. Again, comfortable enough for my family and myself.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and also to have a property or two that we can figure out, either we're renting or whatever it is. So that'll be my goal, and I feel like I'm slowly working towards it. But I
Yeah.
say but my backbone is with me, my
Yeah.
rib is with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So um so that's on the the money side of stuff or whatever. But spiritually and mentally, bro, I want to be able to not stress out, because I do stress out a lot. That's a goal for me, to
Mm.
be, to not beat myself down when I'm actually doing something and I beat myself down so bad that I don't even see the things that I've achieved.
Yeah.
And it takes people to tell me that. For example, to say, yo, bro, get your head out of your, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just do what you need to do. Because I feel like the more you complain, or you speak negative of yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
you become it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I don't want that, because I know who I am. So that's a huge goal, because I know if I if I can get through that obstacle, or over that obstacle, I'm good, bro. Like, I'm 100% good.
That's deep. That is cool. The funny thing is, just to point out a few things. So the way of getting better at something is obviously by practicing. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, if you want to be a better singer, you just sing more, sing every
Yeah.
day,
Yep.
and you will get better.
Hmm.
It might take, some people are just gifted, they got the ear to pick up things better. Some people
Right.
don't. But if you're doing it daily, if you're practicing daily, you will get better, you know. And that's one of the things is, what are your daily habits? And
Right.
that's the key to success that a lot of people don't understand. Is it's not about that one big turnover, you know, it's not that one big track that makes you successful.
Hmm.
It's the habits that you have that will make you successful and keep you in wealth.
Right.
So like, I was speaking to a number of businessmen, and I've, you know, like, you always hear this thing about saving, and people kind of get it twisted. People, and reinvesting. You know, some people get money, then they save like 2% or 5%, and then they say, "Ah, no, but I'm investing like 20%," and then they use
Hmm.
the 70 or whatever is left, or the 60% for their bills and their daily whatever. That's kind of not how it's meant to work if you actually want to be successful. Because even if you've done that if you're doing that religiously, if you see what happens in life, and when you're on a lower tier, I'm not talking about these guys that are making massive money, is small things happen. Like, you have a kid, your kid breaks their arm, you have to pay for all of that, and then all your savings. You see
or
what I
or
mean?
your vehicle gives you problems.
And then,
Mhm.
so
Yes.
it's kind of like, you have to be very aware of certain things. You have to first batch like what lifestyle you want to live, and
Hmm.
Do you have enough money to sustain that lifestyle? And then work backwards. So it's like, we know it costs approximately £20 a head a week for us to eat. Doesn't matter the size of the person in the house. It comes up to about that amount. So it's like 60 quid for the three of us. So I know that, okay, fine. I'm like, yeah, I have to make 60 quid. That's how I work in my head. I have to make £60. Then my son's lunches are £15. So that's 75. Then plus electricity and stuff and all of that rates is £50. So that they works out. You see how, and I'm working wrong already. I'm working wrong. Now, the other part of me is like, okay, cool. I have all of these business ideas. How do I execute? How do I implement? Whoa, I need to put my money in that.
Right.
I'm still kind of in the wrong phase of doing things properly. So it was like, that's how Patreon came about. It was like, what do I need in order to sustain this thing? And how do I make it sustainable? Because I've been doing it for long enough that it should be sustaining itself. Otherwise, it's a bad investment.
Right.
So it's kind of like, now it changed my my perspective of what I wanted to do with it in terms of the music and stuff. So it's like, okay, I've got this hustle that will handle this. I've got this hustle that will handle this, and I've got this hustle that will handle this. You have the energy to work 2, 3, 4 jobs. You could think about it, especially if you're a small fish. If you're not like the head of a big company, you could have one hustle, like main hustle, and 2, 3 side hustles. You make sure that each hustle is dedicated to a certain aspect of your life. It's like, okay, this goes into building the house, this goes into this goes into that. What is it? So
It's
the real
almost
estate,
like a budget hustle.
yeah, it's like, this is I believe in separating things and not running one thing. Like, I don't think that's a great way to do things. Like when you're young, like people are like, zone in on that one thing and make it work. I'm like, yeah, cool. You can throw all your eggs in one basket if you come from a privileged background. But if you don't, bro, look at what skill set you have. It's like, if you're studying to be an accountant and stuff, you could actually do accounts for 2, 3 companies.
Oh yeah. On a consultancy level. I mean, that's what I did a little bit here. Aside, like just to,
Bro,
I'm like, hey, I need cash for this. So I went, yeah, it works, but you've got to be in the right mindset to get yourself going that way, because it can be overwhelming.
it is life is overwhelming, and that's
Mm,
what people, I think, they also get it twisted. It's like, finding your circle, I think, is a great thing. Finding brothers and sisters and a tribe that is pushing in the same direction,
right.
like-minded people, where it's easier to say, fine, this is what we want to do, this is how much extra cash we have, this is how we're moving. But
Yeah.
I feel like, that's what I'm saying, is a lot of people just work aimlessly, and the systems that they think they have in place are not even systems. It's like goals. Yeah, I want to be rich. That's not a goal. It's like, I want to be worth £2 billion. That's clear. Then I say, how do I do that? Like, what do I need? Like, what value am I going to add to people's lives in order for me to either attain this wealth from people or from companies? Am I building a company to sell it? What am I doing to get to that 2 billion? It's like thinking along those lines. But if you have and this is the thing, is I don't want to speak on the dreamers, because there's a lot of dreamers that
Mhm.
I want to speak on a daily basis, on people that probably haven't got the results that they thought they were going to get at A level, haven't really
Mhm.
gone to university, or they kind of have done like a college course. It's like, bro, if you're working at McDonald's or in a restaurant or whatever it is, you can actually, and you're single, you could actually work that restaurant, you could work another restaurant, and on top of that, you could have a social media side hustle. Like, you could do TikToking for companies, bro. Companies are
It's
looking.
it's it's very possible. Like, I mean, the world we're in now, people are making money. Like, it's ridiculous how I see certain people who have just decided to make certain moves. Here's an example of something that I thought was just ridiculously crazy, but is working. Like, things like, there's the one girl from Kenya
Mm,
now. She's known now. They call her the what the chip chewing girl or whatever. Who ended up getting like Rihanna's Fendi or something. She's now like an ambassador of those glasses or whatever because she decided to just start up entertaining people on Instagram. Now she's got like what, a million something followers, and now all of a sudden the celebrities have heard about her and seen her work production or her work or her clips, and now she's got this little station within that Instagram where she's got a channel where she talks to celebrities every week. She's got the power to do that, right? Because celebrities are realizing, yo, we can work
Leverage.
back and forth. Because so
I hope that's not my internet. Shepi, ulipoiri, Rafa, Rafa, ndipo panapa, but Shepi aenda. Okay, I don't know what happened, but basically, okay, he's come out. I'm sure he'll come back. I'll just have to invite him back. One second, people. Anyway, so what I'm saying from my side is quite simple. Is what's the plan? That's kind of like where my head's at in terms of this hustle in your mind or whatever it is that you're trying to do, is have a plan, because that's the only way for you to excel. Stop throwing darts in the dark. Stop doing everything with absolutely no intention of where you want to go. I want to be rich just means you're constantly chasing this, like, this dream. Whereas, and if you know exactly what it is that you're trying to do with, like, okay, fine, I want to attain this type of money. How am I going to attain it? It's like, think about the side hustles you're in, and try and, especially if you have like the rights to work, like, work as hard as you can for the period that you have, and you just put yourself. And also, once you know also what your goal is in life, where you want to be, what happens is then you say, fine, I want to be the next creative so and so. I know I need to work in at least fashion, or even in the music industry, graphic design, like design in general. You know, it's like you have to go into like places where they actually help you shape who you want to be in the future. That's what I'm talking about planning. I'm not talking about planning to the extent where it's like, okay, I'm gonna make 1 million because I'm gonna ask 1 million people for $1. Like, cool, if that's your dream, that's your goal. But I mean, I'm just talking about just having the end goal in mind so that you can strategize how you're going to get there. And that's why I say that's working smarter. Working smarter isn't necessarily not working at all. It's just looking at where you're going to be rewarded either better or quicker. Because when you see results, it basically just builds you. It makes you just wanna go. It makes you wanna do more. Once you start seeing results, it's game over. So, like, even with my Patreon, I'm trying to get people on board, and I know the second people start to actually get on board, just 2 3 people, it will give me the energy I need to get 20 people. Because now I've got people that I can engage with and I can speak to and be like, okay, so what made you sign? And how, like, what content would you like from me? How can I reshape your tier to make it worth your while? It's about communicating with your fan base and not caring about what the world thinks. It's about knowing what you want and going for it as an individual. The reason why I wanted to have this topic, like bring this topic up now, is because at the point that I'm at, I know I was struggling as well to see my way through. Like, what is it that Jerome's going to do in order to break that mold for Jerome? And what the saddest part was like, oh, I'm going to actually have to start from scratch. And that's scary. But I'd rather do that now while I have energy than stick around and try and do it when I'm 50, you know? Anyway, Shep's back. He's back. He's back. He's back. Dave,
This thing just went.
what cut?
Yeah,
What that's him?
like not the laptop, bro. Like it's done it twice already. You remember that other time when I said it did something?
Mm,
Then I fixed it. At least I think I did. And then all of a sudden I thought, oh, when you were talking, it just froze, and I was like, oh, maybe it's network. And
mm.
then all of a sudden, it shut
Oh,
down. So I had to restart it.
okay, cool. But you're back. You're back. That's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I was actually I still carried on. I was just talking about in terms of pushing, like when you see results, it gives you something tangible, it gives you something to hold on to, and that's where you go. So when you're doing five things at the same
Mm.
time, something will give. When that thing gives, it's about being able to renegotiate your energy and direct it in that direction in
Mm.
order to push that, you know. So I was like, even with my Patreon, is I'll keep on throwing out the email until I get someone who signs up. As soon as one person signs up, I'll ask them, what made you sign up? What made you want to be part of this team?
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and how can I make sure that it's worth your while? Because it is about the people. Like any business, service, product, when you're producing a product, it's about the people. It's
Mhm.
like, do you need it? Why? What do you use it for? You know, how do I then communicate that with you to make sure you feel you need it? You know,
Mhm.
Dre Beats done it by simply placing it on all the celebrities' heads, and it was like, oh, you know, you can listen to music like LeBron listens to music. You can listen to music like Burner listens to music. You see what I mean? That
Mm.
was their campaign, and they telling you that it's a product that basically it's a class thing. I'm not into like beats like that. I use these for studio. So don't get it twisted. Like I'm not a brand person, but I see what people are doing. You know, it's like Red Bull put a bunch of empty cans right all over London in bins. And what would people do? They'd look in the bin when they're throwing away litter and go, what's that? You know what I mean? Because they didn't have a marketing budget, but they had a strategy, they had a plan. And that's all I'm saying is it's not about saying, oh man, I'm gonna spend 50 million. It's like, okay, fine, I have $5, but how am I gonna multiply that $5? What's the plan? And
Mm.
that's where I think people get stuck on this whole working smarter idea, you know. They think it's like, what are you saying? You know?
But also speaking of on that, like maybe it's a good time to bring up the that saying. It's a biblical saying, but people use it anyway. That says, "What's in your hand?" Right? Like I think a lot of times you find that most like I've gone through it. I focused on something because other people were making money out of it,
Mm,
and I decided to like pursue that.
yeah.
But I wasn't good at it.
Mm,
It frustrated me. I lost money, and it didn't give me joy or satisfaction. So then you get back to this. That's why I said earlier, these hands. What's in your hand? Basically, just going, hey, you, uh, listener or viewer out there, what is it that you have in your hand? What is it that you have that you're good at? It can become a money generating.
something. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I think the issue is to actually realize or to plan it, to know how to set that plan into action. You know.
Yeah. Bro, the first thing I always say to anyone, like when I start to speak to people in a mentorship program, Like everyone asks me, oh Jay, how come you don't do public speaking? How come you don't mentor people? I do. I just don't get paid for it because I've never ever felt like it's something I wanted to do like that. I always felt like if I've got something to give and it can change your life, I should give. It's only in my later years where I'm like, okay, maybe I need to actually think about this from a business perspective. But the truth is, the first thing I tell people to ask themselves is, what do you love to do?
Mm,
It's
mm,
as simple as that.
mm,
Because even if you're rubbish at something, but you love it, guess what? It doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like a chore. You still wake up every day and you get done, and you get something done.
yeah.
You don't have to be the most amazing proof. You don't have to be the most amazing basketballer to be the best basketballer. You know, you
Mm,
hear the story of Michael Jordan, and it's like, okay, you hear the story of Sylvester Stallone, who's not the best actor in the world, but look at his career. It's like, bro, you don't have to be the best at it. Like that's where people get this twisted. You just have to be passionate about what you're doing. That's the key. The
mm,
key is saying, I love this, and I wouldn't mind waking up every day and doing this thing. And that's a great starting point. You
mm,
know, it's like when I said I wanted to be an artist, my mom and them were like, oh my gosh, really? Out of all the jobs, that's what you're gonna
mm,
pick? Someone who's
right.
as intelligent as you. But then in becoming an artist, it opened up, actually, I'm not just an artist, I'm a creative director. Oh, why? Oh, because I do TV, I do film. Oh, wow, I do music production. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, I can put events together. So I'm actually an events coordinator. Oh, okay. Oh, that means I can actually also do weddings. Oh, I didn't know that. So I can do wedding planning as well. Oh, I can rig a stage. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I can sound engineer, so I can mix. Oh, okay. Oh, I know how to use a camera. I understand lighting. I know how to set up a camera because now I've studied that. But I can do cinematography because I can see the shots that I want. So I could actually do cinematography on big movies. I can direct on big movies. I can act. I can sing. Like there's so many
Mm,
facets. When I started, all I was trying to do is be an artist, like a singer that performs on stage,
right.
singer songwriter. But in doing the things I loved, I found out that I was actually good at so much. Like I wasn't pigeonholed to just
Mm,
singing songs and writing songs. It was like, oh wow, I get to perform. I get to also now, like even from a management perspective, the amount of knowledge I have within the industry means I can manage.
mhm,
So I've even started to study business because how do I sustain the thing I love? So I'm not a
right.
businessman, but it's made me look into other aspects of life with new eyes. Whereas if somebody said to me when I was in school, study business, I'd be like,
Mhm,
you're mad. But now I'm like, rah, I'm studying business. Why? Because it actually matters to me in order for me to progress. And this is why I say, like to parents, even, it's like, don't tell your kids what to do. Find out what they love to do and then show them what they need to do in order for it to be sustainable.
mhm,
Because that will open their eyes and that will turn them whichever way they're meant to go.
mhm,
It's quite easy when you think about it from that perspective. It's like, oh, you love to, you want to be a sprinter. Okay. So that's fine. You're going to have to train pretty much nearly every day, which means no clubbing, no this, no that, no that. We're going to need to look for sponsors, right? You're still going to need to at least study sports science so that you can go and do coaching. You see what I mean? It's like there's so many opportunities within one career, and you can actually help somebody progress and become this amazing somebody in and achieve other things simply by them investing in the thing that they love to do.
right.
And that for me is the key to working smarter. Is It's asking yourself, how do you make those things sustainable, the things that you love? And then you have to be results based. You cannot just be, oh well, I love to do this, so I'm going to do it. No.
Mhm,
It's like, I want to be an artist. Okay, cool. So what do I do? Oh, I want to be a singer songwriter. So what do? I write songs. I i record songs. I put out songs. Okay, at which stage do I start to make money? Oh, when the song goes out. So how do I then make money from that? Oh, I need to make sure I'm getting this amount of streams a year in order for this amount of money to come in. And then from that, if those songs, I've got excess songs, I need to sell those songs, you understand, to other artists. I need to make sure that I'm policing those works well. It's like I need to get them on movies, I need to get them on TV so I can get a royalty like check from that as well. I need to make sure I'm performing these songs in order for me to make more money. I need to make sure these songs are on radio. So look, so one is you're streaming, you're selling the song. The other one is radio. So you're collecting royalties from making sure that you're getting played on radio.
Yeah.
You're gigging this stuff. The other thing you're doing is you're actually getting your stuff on things like TV and stuff. You see what I mean? Is your mind opens up the second you love something.
Right.
And that's how you work smarter. It's like you've got 12 songs. How do you make money from those songs? That's smart. That is smart. It's not saying, well, I've got 12 songs, they're not making money, I'm going to make another 52 tracks. Excuse me, work the system. Find out how you're going to make money from it, and then you move. That's I can give you an example with the music industry. Have you heard of Russ?
Russ.
The rapper.
Russ.
Yeah, Russ.
Nah. Who is he?
Bro, this man recorded, I think, like 300 songs before he approached a label to distribute for him. He had made traction. He was making like 5 or 6 figures before he approached a label. He approached the label because in his head, he was like, I want to make 7 figures a month. Listen, not a year, a month.
Is he an England based rap? Okay.
American.
Russ. Okay.
I think he's American or Canadian, but I think he's American. Bro. And then this guy is like, okay, cool. So he signs his deal, but he says to them for the next like album or the next 2 albums, I can't remember. So they give him the big push for a mainstream act, like a mainstream artist. And then this guy's back catalog, he's still getting paid from that because everyone's looking at his new stuff that the label's pushing. He's on all the top radio stations and stuff because they're pushing him. The majors are pushing him.
Right.
But then people are checking out all of his other work. So he's making all this money from his other work. Forget what the label's taking. He's like, yeah, take the 2 albums or take the album. I'm making money on 300 tracks. You guys are making money on 20. Who do you think's making more money?
But okay, so why did he? What was his move?
His move.
What was the point of getting signed? If he's already.
He never got signed. He signed a distribution deal.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So
yeah,
the reason
that makes sense.
Which is still kind of like getting signed if you understand the industry, but it's like, view it this way. Jerome's been releasing music for nearly 10 years, right? If from the time that I started, well, no, I've been releasing music from 2013 professionally. I've been recording for over 10 years. It's actually nearly 12. But if Jerome, from the time he started, right, had kept all his works and registered his works correctly, he'd have at least 500 songs right now.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? If I got signed right now and those other 500 songs are just sitting online, people are going to go and look for me and they're going to find all of this other information. They'll be clicking on that. If I've registered that work correctly, I could get signed now for an album for the next 12 months. That doesn't matter. I'm on radio. When people are looking me up, I'm going to be saying, yeah, I've been above for 10 years. They're going to want to see what I've been doing for 10 years. Bro, I'm making money from the 500. Those 12 songs that are on that album don't mean anything. That's smart. And Russ was the only person I've seen pull that type of a mission. Very few people have done it that way. And it takes a lot of studying. That is smart. Because people would have been like, oh, you're working hard. How can you do 300 songs? But when you have a plan, bro, I mean, the man done it in what, I think like 4 years. Bro, in 4 years, you're making 7 figures a month.
That's the thing. I think maybe taking a time out or step back as an individual
Yeah.
and just go, okay, let me revisit or reevaluate where I'm at,
Yeah.
and actually start from back to the basics, so that you can actually start really setting up. Because for me, that's what I normally do now. Like, if things I'm hitting the same results, it's either I need to change, or I need to just know that this is not happening, sit down and rethink or reshuffle everything and go back in. Because if I continue and continue, it's not going to help me. The results are not going to be different.
If you're not seeing results, then you'll get demotivated and eventually
Yes,
you'll
sir.
give up. But this is what I'm saying is it has to be results driven, but at the same time, you have to love what you're doing. These are kind of the factors. You have to love what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have
Yes,
to
sir.
look
I
at the
agree.
results. And the thing is, if you love what you're doing, you'll naturally study what you're doing. So even like for yourself, when you talked about events, with me,
Hmm.
like we had a chat sometime
Yeah.
about events last week, and I was saying to you, bro, what is the goal? People don't think like that. People
Mhm.
just say, I want to do events. I've got a friend who's done some amazing nights here in Oxford. But if you ask him, what's your goal for this?
No go.
So guess what? He's happy, he's content with where he's reached. So what's next? What's your next move?
Mm.
You can, and also like I'm somebody that I used to do it, where you get caught up in your own success. So you're always telling people what you've done. Bro, no one cares about that, bro. If you want to do numbers, go and do numbers. Don't talk about your past. Talk about what you're doing in the front. Because
Mhm.
if I could go on for ages about the stuff I've done. I've
Mhm.
done amazing things, but it's like, cool. Let me review my life.
Yeah, because we're not going backwards, are we? We're moving ahead.
It's a
And
different
that's
story
it.
if I'm like, yo, bro, yeah, that thing made me 5 billion, so I'm
Mhm.
chilling. That's a different conversation.
True.
If I sold a hit record 5 years ago that made me 10 mil, and I'm sitting, that is something that you can talk about because you're comfortable. But if you're not comfortable and you're going on and on about the things that you've done, you're just really and truly, you're just trying to stroke your own ego to make yourself feel better about the things you're not accomplishing.
Yeah, but it's also like, you're talking about the things you did and you're not comfortable now. Why aren't you doing them now?
But that's the thing.
Right.
Success is not. It's not a one. It's not like you get there and you stay there. That's what people get twisted. It's life.
It's
So
maintenance, bro.
yeah. So
Maintenance.
this,
Yes, sir.
you're doing this like
Yes,
you're doing
sir.
these waves until you get to a point where the waves are now playing up here, but you're still waving. It's never ever. Even Bill Gates and them, it does this. So sometimes he's worth 150 billion, then he's worth 129 because of
Mm.
bad things, then he's worth 200 billion, then he's worth 189. You understand what I'm saying? It's not a constant even in that realm. So what makes you think that it's a constant in our realm? It's not, bro. You accumulate more wealth when you have a plan and you understand and you're doing it knowingly. You can't, it's like you saying you want to buy a house. Cool, but what's the plan with the house? Oh well, I've got enough to buy the house now, but what's the plan? It's just going to cost you if you haven't got a plan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, and that's the thing, bro. I think that's what frustrates more, when you look back and you're like, it's tough when you then look back and go, that was the wrong formula. you know, I was too quick to just follow a trend. No, no, no. If you're gonna follow the trend, know the trend, bro. Like, I would rather, right now, bro, I'm just learning a lot about a lot, but more so about me,
Mm,
because the way things were working back in Africa in the Zim,
yeah,
um, I had, I had my own comfort, in the sense that I had a like a business blueprint that I followed, that I built and followed, and it worked well. I survived. I managed to do this. I managed to do that, and things were good there, right? But then you get out of that, and then you come into a place where you're like, okay, So at first I was frustrated because I'm like, oh, bro, I'm shape. I was in Zimbabwe, Maria. I can kia. Okay, true. But guess what? This is not Zimbabwe, my guy. Here, what you need to do then is with that mindset, that business mentality, that intelligence you have here,
Yeah.
start from scratch in this place and grab the resources you need to grab, Antitika,
Mm.
because here there's time to do that.
Yeah.
Even if it takes a year, 2 years, learn and master it. By the time you're done, that Kia mentality plus,
What you have?
bro,
You're
you know
moving.
what I'm saying?
You're
So
moving.
and that's where I'm at now. Like when I moved here, bro, I said to my wife, yo, like, okay, so 2015, we get there. I'll give myself a year and a half to just scope this, the scenario, out in deep, and then we'll probably, yeah, I think the best thing we'll be owning our own house, and wifey knows when I say something, I'm gonna do it. She knows my potential.
Mm.
So she was like, yeah, for sure. We will definitely own a house and stuff. But Shapey, please just calm yourself down, eh? Let's go there first and relax. So that you get to deal with things like even the weather, which plays a factor. Even the culture shock, which plays a factor. So it's all these things. Then when I slowed down, I realized, yo, I was burning myself out with frustration. Now I have to restart. But it's been great because now I'm in a place where, like, when we're talking about this whole thing, these events or whatever, the festivals.
Yeah.
Now I look back and I'm like, those years I was literally just putting things into play. Now I'm looking at those festivals. Now I'm thinking, oh, if we can bring Mr. Jerome to Canada and do a festival, oh, this person, it's possible
Mm.
because I now have these people.
In place. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be money too, right? At
No.
all. I have these people in place who are like, yo, we've got resources, right? Bro, here's an actual, like, a good thing that's happened here too, that adds up the whole value of us starting up a good festival culture here.
Yeah.
We've got a new indoor facility. It's like, I think, I don't know how much they spent money building this thing. By January, it'll be functioning. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a hockey arena, right? But now it's got a soccer turf indoor. It's got, you can use the joint for private functions. You can use it for weddings. You can use it for this. So, and then now we're thinking in my head again. Here's the thing. Then in my head, I'm involved in soccer, right? I was
Yeah.
talking to a friend of mine who's a coach here, and then I was like, and he's originally from Brazil. I was like, yo, it didn't Canada campaign for the World Cup 2026? I think. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 with the states. I'm like, oh, our community soccer is just poof, right.
Yeah.
There's this new facility here. I was like, so which means there'll be a lot of countries looking for places to train and chi. Why don't we, since there's a new facility, I know the people there, they're looking for business and for exposure. Saka, if we can just go in Taura with them and say, look, World Cup is coming in a couple of years. And I know the coach who coaches in Winnipeg, like that's the bigger city. They've
Yeah.
got a local team, a men's team, that is the Premier League, Vala FC.
Yeah.
The coach he's a white man, but he was born in Zambia.
Mm.
And so already when I heard that, I was like, neighbor.
I
And
would.
then he grew up in England. And then we got to meet him one time when we went for this soccer stuff in Winnipeg. So I
Yeah.
was like, so then I went back and I was like, resources.
Yeah.
If I can talk to these guys at the arena and say, this is new turf we want to put, I can easily just talk to this guy and say, yo, you can put your team on the bus. It's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
We'll sponsor you. We'll give you guys food or lunch or whatever it is. You guys just come train and sign autographs. Bring your merch and you can sell. Because there's young people and older people who love this team. So I
Yeah.
was like, I can go to this hotel and talk to Mr. Whoever and say, hey, the soccer team is coming. You guys can just take pictures and it's good for press.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Good for. So it's all these things now that I'm like, okay, for the past 2.5 years, as frustrating as it sounds, I
Yeah.
just haven't I didn't give up on myself. I realized, yo, Shepi, start doing what you need to do. Get to know the people, get to know this, because where you're going and you've got that dream, you've
Yeah,
got that focus. Trust me, you're gonna need this.
yeah.
And that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, you're gonna need a lot of the things you go through without even realizing it. Well, they're like artillery, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Just like
mm,
adding to your arsenal. And that's something that I think that a lot of people don't understand when they, like my mom and them were like, you've done everything.
mm,
Like, what have you not done? And I'm like, I have a basic knowledge for such like so many different things. Like I've coached athletics, I've
mm,
rode BMX bikes for Zim. I've played cricket, like for Mashonaland. I've, I played hockey at a high level. I've played rugby, semi-professional rugby in England. It's like I've never ever not like whenever something's popped up, I've tried to do it. I've
mm,
gone for it because the knowledge that you get from it is like, bro, it just gives you another thing that you can add. It's like I can put together a serious sprints like thing, like open outdoor whatever sprints challenge. I could do that because I have the knowledge for it. I could do clinics on coaching. It's just it's that's what I'm saying to you is all these things that you're talking about that you're like, I've got this and
mm.
I've got that and I've got this. It's impossible for you to connect the dots if you don't know what the end goal is.
Right,
So you
right.
can't use that arsenal. So that's the key is in knowing like, okay, cool, I want this for myself. People look at me like, bro, I don't talk about how bad things have been, but I've never really owned anything. I've never had debt, but I've never ever really made a lot of money or sat in a lot of money. I've
Mm,
had little spurts of like, hey, I've got a bit of cheese to throw, but I've never ever been like a big baller. And I know that. I know I've looked the part sometimes, and I know I've made a lot of bad decisions with money.
mm,
But I've never ever like from what I've accomplished, I've never ever looked at it as if it was the end goal because I know I'm far from it. So it's
mm.
like, ish, okay. With my music, I remember the thing that got me was like, how do I make money from this? I was like, how do I make money from this? It was vexing because I was making music and I wasn't seeing a dime. It was like even shows, I was like, ugh, I was getting paid something like $100 for like an hour, and I only had one gig like a week, if lucky, or every second week. Bro, it was frustrating.
Huh.
And then I was like, how do I get paid more money? Then I was like, oh, I need to change my status within this realm. So I started to mingle with celebrities and footballers when I was in Manchester, which automatically meant I was getting booked for shows that were bigger, which automatically meant that I was getting paid now £300 for 15 minutes because I was seen with the right people.
Mm,
And then in understanding that that's all the entertainment industry is it's based on that. I was like, yo, I don't want to do that. What do I want to do? I want to create, as I said to you, events are about that feeling that someone leaves with. You have to leave them with an experience. And I was like, I want to create experiences. So this isn't going to work for me. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? That means no club gigs, no really small kind of dingy things. Everything has to be thought out. Everything has to have something that inspires a certain set of
and you
emotion.
gotta set a standard too, right?
Yeah. And
Mm,
bro, it's
mm,
like I've heard like people don't even understand this. It's like, okay, how come Nas could never ever outdo Jay-Z? Nas was still doing club performances in his what, 40s. Jay-Z stopped doing that when? It's like, bro, you have to have the vision. You have to know where you're going. And I'm not saying Nas isn't great. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the vision that Jay-Z had and the vision that Nas had, when you compare them, Nas was still playing with the DJ and stuff in his 50s with a DJ and a mic. Jay-Z had a full band with he was packing out stadiums. You understand what I'm saying? But
mm.
you could never ever find Jay-Z performing in a club after a certain point in his career. And people don't understand that. It's like, oh, you're missing out on all that cheddar. No, bro, you get paid 5,000 from a club. You get paid 150,000 from an arena. Do the math.
And yeah, maybe some people are comfortable, as you said, some people are comfortable where they're at, and hey, that's on you.
But that's your
But
version of success. That's
right,
you.
right.
But that's what I'm saying is you have to know where you're going. You can't let the world dictate. I've done that where you let the world dictate what happens in your life. And guess
Mm,
what? You come short because when people get bored of you, they throw you away.
mm,
Like I'm talking about being continentally recognized as I had higher ratings than Davido, Wizkid, all of those people on the continent at one point. I was
mm,
one of the most talked about and most viewed names on the continent. And that's
mm.
all gone. And with the way I look at it, I was like, wow, you know why? Because I had no
You
plan.
and you could have been that guy who's talking about what you've once done, but what where is it? It hasn't got you anywhere.
It
You know
was
what I mean?
clearly
It's
because I
like
looked,
right.
yeah,
It's like what are you doing now? Because then you're like, okay, I was up there, and whatever I did then, if it's gonna work now, so I want to push for that.
but
Or
but bro, I understand that I don't hold any of that. Like that success was not on me. People
mm,
will look at it and they're like, oh, it's on the person. It's not. You go for an audition and they decide who's going to be the most marketable to make them the most money. That's somebody else's success. They're giving you the platform. You're not creating your platform. And this is why I
yeah,
was saying it is in knowing that I was like, when I look back, I was like, so everything was just fake. It wasn't real. Those ratings are not my ratings. Those are Big Brother's ratings. And that's how I treat them. So
yes,
that's JJ,
yes,
Big Brother Africa. That's the housemate that was in Big Brother. That's Big Brother African ratings. That's not Jerome Arab. So now I'm trying to create Jerome Arab ratings.
like
And
this is me.
and I know that it's like, can you imagine Timberland and Swiss Beats put together
That
something,
versus thing.
yeah, that has got more viewership than the MTV Awards, than the Grammys.
Yeah, that's true. That is
Bro,
actually very.
bro, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that we all have to dream big. I'm saying just know where you are heading, know what you want for yourself.
Yeah,
And that's how you work smarter, is in knowing your target.
I'm wondering who in Africa is gonna try replicate that to do a versus kind of thing, because it would work. You
They're
see,
doing it
other
happening.
businesses is just blueprint.
Yeah, but
Grab that what works and
in Ghana, they've already started to do it, like with Shatawale and Stoneboy. They like Africa does it. They trust me, it's already happening. Don't be fooled by it. It's already
mm,
happening. When the verses started, there are artists in Zambia that were doing verses, but with other artists' songs to say, hey, who's a better DJ? They didn't quite grasp the concept of people coming with their hits in order to amplify it. They don't understand the
mm,
business behind it. It's you've seen something, oh, there's people listening. Ah, yes. Bro, it was about viewership. It was about the culture. It was proving that the culture is bigger than the industry. It was empowering the people. And that's what I'm
mm,
saying about understanding what you're doing. If you don't understand what you're doing, bro, then that's someone else's success that you're riding on. And when you're a creator and you're able to also unpick these things, you don't waste your time dwelling on other people's success. You
right.
rejoice in their success. I mean, you'll say, yo, well done. You won't
Hmm.
hate. You're not going to be a hater. But at the same time, you question and you'll say, okay, so what was their intent? Like, what were they aiming for? How did they get there? You
Yeah,
start to unpick it so that you can reach your goals, your optimum, you know? And you don't move your mark once you know your mark just because someone's done better than you. You still
yeah.
trying to hit your mark because you're trying to do better than yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of just my take on it, But that's it in a nutshell, bro.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I'm taking out of this personally is just to continue. If you have dreams and goals that you or yeah, dreams, goals that you want to get to,
Yeah.
then focus, like go for it, learn what you need to learn, and then you
Mm.
know sorry.
Mwana.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, but she's G. She's G.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I think we're gonna sign out. So to
For
everybody,
sure, bro.
thank you for tuning in. Make sure you ask yourself, what do you want for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And hit us up. Drop that in the comments. Looking forward to, hearing what you guys have to say about what we're talking about, your opinions. And remember to check out our pages.
Mm-hmm.
We've got
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chiwaz on
Yes,
Instagram.
Mr. Underscore Chiwaz.
Yep. And then
Yup.
you the Great Arab on Instagram. Yeah, you can check out our other handles. We'll post them and stuff. And in the bottom there, I'm also going to be posting the link to my Patreon so that you guys can help us make this happen. So
Let's
100
go.
signing out. Peace.
Let's go. Peace.